The guest in my virtual chair today was Ken Fuchs. Ken is the television director of shows, I'm pretty sure you know most of them, The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Shark Tank, Family Feud, To Tell the Truth, The Misery Index. I might be forgetting one, I'm not sure. He just works so much. He's a storyteller who changes lives every week in our homes. I know you've seen his shows. I know you love them. You're gonna love Ken.
Hey, baby, it's time for the Nikki Alpert Podcast. Come on, pull up a chair. We gonna have some fun.
Ken Fuchs, what a pleasure to see you, honey. Hi.
Oh, hi. Nice to be here.
I am so grateful for you doing this with me in the very beginning of my podcast adventure. And for any of you who wonder how I got to be so lucky, Ken Fuchs is the director of Shark Tank. I think people have seen that show, and The Bachelor, and The Bachelorette, and Family Feud. Am I missing anything?
To Tell the Truth.
To Tell the Truth.
The Misery Index.
The Misery Index.
And a lot of shows that came before it.
How do you have the time to breathe, my friend?
You know, you just keep rolling along and do your best. And the truth is, as a director, I'm not on these shows every day for months and months and months. I prep, we shoot, and then post. But during the post process, I can start prepping the next show. And so I'm able to bounce between shows a little more easily than, say, a showrunner or producer.
All right, which I'm sure a lot of people don't really know what that means, but I do understand that it means post. It means you get the show shot, everybody else works on the editing and all that stuff later.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's hard, and it's a lot of work, and I'm very, very lucky. I'm so lucky. You know, 2 shows for 20 years, 1 show for 12 years. It's like unheard of, but I'll take it. I love it, and I'm very, very, very lucky.
Ken and I go way back. We met in the 80s when we both worked for a hilarious game show producer. And we became friendly, and lots of laughs and lots of funny memories. And I went on to do hair, and Ken went on to be a huge television director.
I got stuck, yes.
Oh, babe, you're not stuck. You are moving forward, my friend. I hear you talk about it sometimes, and you always just say how much you love it, how you're really just telling stories. And it's not just stories. You make fairy tales come true. You make wishes come true on all your shows, winning a game show, all that kind of stuff, like Bachelorette and Bachelor, people get married. You make dreams come true.
I love it. I love the emotional and the sort of personal aspect of it. I really do. I mean, even on Family Feud, when that family wins $20,000, it's really life-changing to them sometimes, and it's just so cool and emotional, and I get choked up even in the control room directly.
You cry? Do you cry like a baby?
I cry.
I'm so glad to hear that.
I cry. Shark Tank especially is really a dramatic show where people put their dreams and hopes on the line and sometimes mortgage everything, and so it's quite emotional sometimes.
And I mean, just the trailers, which are, so whoever does that, boy, I could cry for the whole 3 minutes. And so I know that Bachelor or Bachelorette rather, and Shark Tank are about to debut this week.
Right, that's right. 2 in 1 week.
How does that, yeah, right? And shooting during COVID.
Well, the whole COVID thing has thrown everything off. It's thrown off our shooting schedule. We were supposed to shoot Bachelorette in March, April, and May, and it normally airs in July. But this year we shot in July, August, September, and it's airing in October. So all the shooting and airing schedules for the Bachelor fans, it's a strange time to start Bachelorette. And it's also on Tuesday nights as opposed to our normal Monday nights. So what is that, the 13th, I think, we premiere next
I saw
Tuesday?
2 things. You got one on the 13th and one on the 16th. So is Shark Tank the 16th? Okay.
Right. So Shark Tank's on its normal Friday night. Well, we moved back to Friday nights now. Okay. So that'll be Shark Tank, and Bachelor, it'll be Tuesday nights.
So while all of this flux happens, because your shows get such high ratings, they find a way to put them on no matter how many months later, no matter what day it fits in. It
Right.
works.
Well, yeah, and the network needs content. You know, a lot of the scripted stuff is very slow to come back. So this non-scripted reality, especially the non-audience shows,
Right.
reality and Shark Tank are able to. We were really some of the first shows to get back into production safely and following all the protocol, and it's been really wonderful. But because we were able to get back into production, we're able to provide, fresh new content, which
They need.
they kind of need. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you coming up with any new show ideas to fill extra content in the way you work?
And, I'm sort of not in the development
That's
world.
true.
I'm sort of busy. I'm so busy. But
Wait, you're
yeah,
busy?
there's always I'm a little busy. But there's always ideas, and there's always stuff formulating, and there's always stuff percolating, and partnerships and collaborations, and that would be fun too. I'm actually developing a show with my son, Ike.
Oh, hi, Ike.
That's kind of fun. And
nice.
I'm working on some stuff with my older son, Jed. And now we just have to get Eli in the mix.
There we go.
Yeah.
And so they all want to follow in their daddy's footsteps, huh?
Well, I don't know if they want to, but they're just,
Why not?
I don't know. I wish they'd get real jobs. Like my dad said about me. It's a very odd profession, as you know. And it's very, freelance by nature is a little risky and scary, and it's not for everyone, but we'll see. We'll see if they like it.
So when your dad told you to get a real job, what does he say now? I mean, your brother's a director too, right?
My brother was in the business as a producer.
Oh,
he was
okay.
a producer, and he was in the business for a long time. And so my dad did see that as a actual profession and a business where people work and make a living. And, if you don't live in LA, it's kind of a foreign concept.
Yeah.
But I think I was about 45 when he finally called me from like the checkout stand at the news. He was reading a magazine at the checkout stand at the supermarket, and he's like, "Oh, I see your shows are in the magazine. I guess you're doing okay." And I was like, "Yes, Dad. I'm 45. I have 3 kids. It's all good."
Wait, 3 kids and how many shows that you were working on for how
I don't
many
know,
years at
but
that point?
it's just such a foreign concept to people that people work on these things, and that they sort of think they magically appear on their TV, I think.
It is interesting. I mean, I grew up here, and my father was in your business. He was a publicist, and so I grew up on the sets. And funnily enough, I grew up on game show sets because they used to shoot the Gong Show on the weekends. I used to go to the Gong Show. That was so fun, Ken.
Yeah. Well,
I that world I'm familiar with, but you forget that not everybody grows up where you grow up, and that it's totally different. And people, like you said, just figure it magically appears. I mean, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of people, and it's I find it very satisfying. I really do love it. It's a great profession for me. It worked out. I mean, I'm sort of similar to you, I think, Nikki, in that you're not really a sit at the desk 9 to 5 kind of person.
Really? How did you know? You mean because of that job we had together where I never got anything done?
Yeah, you weren't good. You were never at your desk. It was horrible.
Wait, can I just tell you? I remember one of the questions was, or they were, are you old enough to buy beer? This was my job requirements. Are you old enough to buy beer? Yes, I was 21.
Yeah.
Can you make coffee? I said yes. I had never made coffee in my life.
The worst coffee.
The third question was, can you type? Yeah. And I remember the first night, because, and they were typewriters. And so the first night, my letter, maybe it was 3 paragraphs. Ken, I think I was there till 4 a.m, backing it up, trying to line it up, putting white out on the whole thing. I never should have gotten that job. But, sometimes when you're young and pretty, you get some jobs you never should have.
Well, a lot of it, we had a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
We had a very positive experience working together. So that's half the job.
Yeah.
I think being good at the job is the other half.
Yeah. I also learned to never sit on a couch without crossing your legs first from you guys, because I remember women would come in for job interviews and they would be like, you can see their underwear. And I was like, I'll never do that.
No, I don't know. I didn't notice.
But I just it's a good thing to notice. You guys warned me, listen, when you sit down, make sure you're, be a
lady.
Be a lady. And honestly, I was 21. I never thought about it, know? So I'm grateful for that lesson, because I also know now to get out of the car and cross my legs in a dress because of you guys.
That's funny.
I thank you for
21?
that. I was 21. I just gotten old enough to go down to Pink Dot and buy you guys beer.
Oh, wow. I was probably 30. I don't know.
Well, if I was 21, how old are you now?
I was probably 28, maybe.
How,
I am 59.
all right, so you are 7 years older than me, so you were
Yeah.
28.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, huh? How did that go by so fast? How
I
did
don't
that
know.
happen?
I don't
Okay,
know.
so let's talk more COVID if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you and I spoke a few weeks ago, and you were talking about how the camaraderie, much like in a hair salon for me, people in your business, when the Me Too movement is respected, there's a lot of hugging, there's a lot of like laughing and giggling and joking and closeness, even though you may not be touching anybody. That's got to be missing. Am I right?
Absolutely. I've done four shows now, and they've all been very successful. Basically, zero tests, positive tests,
Nice.
and all the protocol, the masks and the distancing, and we've sort of had to rejigger all the shows to make them COVID safe, and it's been a challenge. It's been a lot of work. And the content, the shows are good. The shows are really very good, but it's harder. It's just a lot harder. Like you said, there's so much unspoken communication. There's so much body language. There's so much, even just looking at someone's face that you can't do now.
Yeah.
So it's really a challenge.
It's funny. You were talking about how the just the facial expression and the non-communicative stuff that do you think that because you're reality based, I mean your TV your game shows are sort of reality also, it's real stuff. So
Yeah.
do you think that helps you understand and deal with the flux of all of this because you're ready to go at any time and see where things go? Do you think that makes it easier for you to handle in your work?
It's creating the content is doable. Yeah, because that's right. It's not scripted, so we sort of know we can go any which way at any time, and we have to be ready for anything. But it's more just the communication between the crew,
Right.
and really that kind of camaraderie. Just little things like going out for a beer after work.
Can't do that.
You can't do that, and that seems like a minor thing, but actually the next day when you're in your like 16th hour of just grinding and pushing that boulder up the hill, that little camaraderie among the team is sort of what helps you accomplish those things.
Yep.
And that team chemistry, and when you're not able to recreate that, it's difficult. Now my shows, I have to say, with Bachelor and Feud and Tank, we're all very close knit, those crews, because we've been together for so long. So that's
Yeah.
a big advantage. But
Yeah.
for a new show that's just starting up,
Building that camaraderie.
building that camaraderie is takes time.
Yeah.
And when you can't see each other or hug each other or
Yeah.
go have a beer or coffee, it's really difficult.
It's interesting because your job and people who work on sets like you, they always say it's like you build a family, and
Yeah.
all of that stuff matters. All of that stuff in a family gets picked up on, and like you said, just the nonverbal stuff. And also when you can go after work and complain openly, like, "Oh my God, that was a long day,"
Right,
and then
right.
whatever, then you laugh about it the next day. So
Right.
speaking of long days, we talked about how your shows, you're used to working, 14, 16-hour days.
It depends.
Okay, I mean, that's probably a long time, so
It depends.
I
That's
might
a
have
long
exaggerated.
day. No, that's a long day. Yeah.
But now you're actually like on location for all your shows because you guys have to all be isolated together, right?
Yes. Well, right. We live and created a bubble where we can shoot and live and eat and all within a very safe bubble, so that there's not so much outside risks.
Yeah, outside aerosol coming in.
Yeah.
What are you doing in New York?
In New York, I'll be shooting the TNT game show Misery Index. It's my second season on that show, and it's the Jamila Jamil is the host from The Good Place, and the Impractical Jokers
That's funny.
They're the four guys, two guys with each contestant. They help the contestant. It's a very, very funny show.
That's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, they're hilarious. They are hilarious.
So,
Yeah, so we're going to be in the city shooting that, and that'll be a different, it's like every show has its own sort of, hurdles.
yeah. What's the biggest hurdle you see there?
Well, for one thing, it's a stage show. Like, so for instance, like Bachelor, we're out in a resort or we shoot dates outside. There's a lot of, there you're inside in a stage, so it's a little more confined. And then, just being in New York, I haven't been in New York since the virus struck, and so that'll be an interesting, experience and see what's going on there.
Are the streets emptier than usual?
I'm not there yet.
Oh, I thought you were in New York now.
No, I'm at Bachelor.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. I guess I can't keep up with your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about Bachelor and Bachelorette for a second. Okay. And I know you can't say much, but
I can't say much.
Boy, has there been news about all of the change of things and people coming in. How does that feel when all that stuff is leaking out to you as the director?
Well, it's funny. When I've been on the show since before social media, so we used to have a pretty tight bubble, and we had a tight, there wasn't as much
leakage.
Leakage. What's the word? Well, with social media, right? Just spoilers and things like that. And so we were very observant about that. And then it's just sort of exploded, and the cast members write this, and they write books, and they say this, and everyone has an opinion about the show. But in the long run, they're still talking about the show.
I was going to say it's free PR.
In some sense, yeah, right. You would know about PR. If your dad could see this, you would say it's you get lemons, you make lemonade. So it's like you can fight it for so long, and then at a certain point, you're just like, okay, now people are still watching, and more than ever. Yeah. So it is, in a sense, free PR, and it's really changed that business a lot. But I don't know. I guess we've sort of embraced it on some level, because we can't
stop it.
We can't really stop it. We can't, everyone signs contracts, and the cast is not supposed to do this or that. But at a certain point, it's out there, and but still, we'd like to have the confidentiality of most of what's happening.
Yeah, and the ending of the show and all that stuff,
and
right?
End, and where we, all that stuff. So it certainly isn't coming internally, but there's some stuff. I mean, people call me hearing about stuff that I don't even know about.
And that's how you find out.
Amazing. Yeah, it's pretty crazy right now.
And are the paparazzi everywhere when you're doing something like that at La Quinta?
No, I mean, I didn't see any.
But there are some pictures that somebody leaked out.
There are pictures of, I guess, people climb trees with long
or people
lenses.
who work there, maybe people who work there.
I have no idea. Yeah.
Remember back in the day, if you were someone who worked there, you could get a big fat paycheck from the National Enquirer for stuff like that.
Right. Well, I suppose that still exists. I don't know.
Okay. It probably does for People Magazine and all those things.
Probably.
But again,
it's sort of despicable, because in a way, it's like, if you're really a fan, like the true fans, I think, don't want to read and know all that, right? They kind of want to enjoy it for the first time.
Yeah. But I think obviously, like you said, you're not losing any fans from it, and it might be gaining new fans just to find out how she did that. Where'd she go? She talked to him before? She not? So, by the way, just saying all the things I've read, I don't know anything, but I've read all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And it's younger, and it's also younger, which is always the goal of any show, is to stay young and to have the viewership stay, to capture that demographic.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite baby show?
A favorite baby show?
Yeah, like is one show your baby?
Oh, my baby? No, not really. I feel very, very, very connected to all three, Bachelor, Feud, and Shark Tank, just because it's been so long.
Yeah.
So I love them all. They're very different. One is a studio audience game show that's relatively shot live. One, Bachelor, is like true reality, where we shoot a lot over a long period of time, and it's very much post-driven. And then Shark Tank's kind of a hybrid. It's sort of in the middle. It's shot in a soundstage with multi-camera, but we still overshoot and edit together and make the show in post. So they're sort of three very different kinds of shows, but I like the live the best. It's like not the Women Tell All, after the final rose, the Bachelor live show in the studio. To me, live as a director, what I do, that's the biggest thrill.
And what's the big difference for you in your job during that?
Every decision I make is going on television. 10 million people are seeing it. So it's like,
So that's your baby. That's your baby. That's
my baby. Yes.
There you go.
The
Okay.
the live after the final rose is my baby, because that is the most adrenaline you'll ever feel, where literally everything
is on you.
Everything's on you. I mean, not the content, that's still the producers,
right.
but like what it looks like and sounds like, and the effects and the graphics, and it's very it's stressful and it's incredibly rewarding. And when it's done, it's like when you go off the air, it's an unbelievable.
High-fiving everybody, but you can't.
Yeah, I know, but you can't now. Yeah.
You can high-five yourself.
That's a good point. We don't know what those shows will look like in the future. Yeah, high-five yourself.
No, don't do that. It's interesting to hear you say, with all of the success you've had, and by the way, it is so beautiful that you don't have an ounce of ego, and you were always saying how grateful you are. And I know this about you, but I've watched your interviews, and it's just so beautiful to see. And also just now to hear you say how anxiety-ridden and stressful it gets. It's interesting, and to hear you say that after all these years, that happens. And I think that's a good thing. So tell people.
But it stops happening, then you should get out.
Right?
Right? If you don't get nervous and you don't feel that excitement, and you should get out and do something else, because that's the key for me. That's the best part of it, is that you feel that energy. And
then the payoff is even better because you were stressed out. I think it's like how they say, if you don't feel lows, you don't know what highs feel like. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like I've been doing hair for 30 years, minus 7 months because I haven't been there for so long. Mm-hmm. But every time I got a new client, Ken, I would be so stressed out, and I'd go to the beauty supply and I'd look at every new color, and everybody not everybody, but lots of women I work with would say to me, Nikki, you've been doing this for 30 years. Why do you get stressed out? And I would always say, why do you not? Do you not care anymore?
Yeah.
I want them to love me. I want them to be happy. They're coming to me just like you're putting a beautiful story on the air. If you don't make it look beautiful, that's on you.
Right.
Right?
I think it's less stress maybe than it is just excitement. Anticipation. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. You still feel that way.
I just heard the ketchup song when you said anticipation.
Oh.
So is it okay being away from family for this long? How's that for you?
No, that's never okay.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a long time, so I've kind of gotten used to it, and you kind of, it's just something you come to accept. But if not for COVID, I think they'd be traveling a little more with you. Me. Yeah. So hopefully next year, maybe, fingers crossed, we'll get back to that.
That would be nice, huh?
Yeah. The travel's tough.
Yeah. I would imagine. And scary.
Yesterday
and
was
all
Jed's birthday. And I was thinking, God, that's another birthday I missed. It's just, but look, you get into this business, as you know, you have to accept some of the realities of it. And that's odd schedules, travel, strange hours. And, like I said, it's not for everyone.
But if you're lucky enough to do well in it, and there aren't that many people who do. I mean, I remember hearing statistics about the SAG, people, like how many people in SAG actually work.
Oh, right.
Is there a director? There must be. Do you know what the director's statistic is?
I don't, but it's probably worse.
Yeah, right? Because there's only one on every show.
There's 10. Yeah. I don't know. Although I think there's fewer members in the DGA than there are in SAG after.
But still, compared to how many people there are and how many people work, the percentage is there. And like you said, probably lower than whatever the numbers are.
It's tough. It's very tough. But on the other hand, when you're off, you're really off.
Right.
You can be off like for a month at a time or 2 months at a time. And so, if you look at it in terms of actual days
quality time. Yeah.
There's a lot of quality time that just comes in chunks.
Right.
You
got a big chunk of it during COVID.
Yeah. And then, we got a big chunk in COVID, which was a blessing to be around the baby. And,
And one of your friends, I'm sorry I cut you off. What were you going to say?
One of my friends said, it wasn't really a friend. It was, anyway, the expression, like you're either home too much or not enough, So it's like we can be around a lot, which is like, it's tough. It's very tough. But the COVID was interesting. I really tried to enjoy those, 4 months? We were shooting Bachelorette. We were starting night one the day after this all came down, and Warner Brothers we shut down.
Shut it down.
So that was March 9th, I think. So March, April, May, June, and then went back like towards the end of July. So yeah, 4.5 months.
That's a long time to be home. Have you ever had that much time off since you've been successful? And what a beautiful time to be home, like you said, with the baby.
Yeah, it was nice. It was
I
nice.
bet. I
Yeah,
bet.
yeah.
So I don't know. I am so grateful, and I think it's amazing that you're doing all of this. And when so many people can't work, and again, you're grateful for that, and
Very
you're
lucky.
giving right, and you're giving people an opportunity to make money when they're not making money, and help them out. I mean, geez, that must be
That was
for
a big
Shark
thing.
Tank,
Yeah,
right?
right. Well, that was a big thing for the entrepreneurs and people on the shows, but also for the crews and all those people. Are, like you said, our family, our work family. You know, to be able to get back to work and see these men and women, you know, making money and being able to provide for their families again is, you know, very, very rewarding.
You are so lucky doing what you're doing, my friend, and I never meet people who love their job so much. You know, I mean, my husband does, my son does,
Yeah.
you do,
Yeah.
and it's just, and I loved being a hairdresser, but you know, sometimes you got to pivot, so we're pivoting.
Good for you. Well, you've always done that, and you're brilliant and smart and funny, and you're going to have success at whatever you do.
Can you say that again? I like the way it sounds.
I love what you're doing. I like this whole look. And look, I've been around a lot of shows and a lot of hosts, and I know you have what it takes. You're terrific.
Can't
So
tell
you can do this.
I
You can
can't
do
tell you
this.
how much that means to me. There's a little guy over here that's me that's like, what are you thinking? How would you, who are you? And then there's my husband, and now there's you sitting on my shoulder saying, you've
no.
got this. And
The beauty is you really do have it. Like, you just have to be yourself. It's not even going to be work for you. Like, there's people on TV with talk shows that aren't as good and as natural. You're a talker.
what?
But you're a good listener. I notice you've really gotten that listening thing down.
Well, you have a lot to tell, and that's why I want to be. My dream in this, Ken, is with 4.5 billion people, I think, having access to the internet, you know?
Yeah.
I heard stories for the entire 30 years standing behind the chair. And they helped me make decisions in my life. Health decisions, marriage decisions, child rearing decisions, work decisions. And I think a lot of people don't get that kind of talk, much like you do on the set. That communication that can change. You hear somebody's story, you see yourself in it, and the pivot you can make from that is beautiful. And
Yeah, if you're open to it, which...
But a lot of people don't even get the chance to be open to it because people don't talk at work. And so if I can bring some of the stories that people share with me because I'm a good listener and I'm a good question asker and I'm a good talker, well then maybe somebody somewhere can see someone like you and think it is a risky business, but you know, people do succeed. And so I just want somebody somewhere to get like a little bug up their butt from somebody who's successful thinking, maybe I can. By the way, if you were going to say something to someone whose parents keep saying to them, like your dad did, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. What would you say?
Well, he never said don't do that. He just never said, oh, that's great, you're doing that.
Right. Because he was a professor in college.
He was a professor. So when you're an academic, you're kind of like, you're going to go back to school or, you know, get some kind of professional degree.
Right. But you did go to school, didn't you?
I did. I went to 4 years of college, right?
Okay.
But I mean like graduate.
Right.
Law school, medical school.
What did you graduate with?
You know, I graduated with a degree in economics.
Okay.
Not in film, not in television, because I really enjoyed economics and I liked that major and it kind of, you know, but I have to say, you were going to say if you were going to tell somebody anything.
Yes.
I'll tell you what I would say is, I have this saying, you never know when you're lucky. And I think that people, especially young people today, I see it in my sons, they're sort of a little more in a rush to kind of like get somewhere and do something. And I was kind of flailing around a little bit with a major that led to something totally unrelated. But then I ended up doing a lot of budgets, and I was sort of in the production side of television, and that a lot of that experience sort of helped me in that way. Mm-hmm. And so I would just say, keep going out and having more experiences, because even if they don't seem to apply specifically to a job that you're applying for,
that's right.
In life, it will help you to have a broader knowledge of things, and that you never know when you're going to draw on that experience. And even if it's not like tomorrow or next year or in the next job, I just don't think that the ladder of success, especially in my business, is so clear cut. And that if you embrace that, it's kind of wonderful, because it means, like, you know, some people are frustrated because they say, oh, if I do this and this and this, I'll go here, here, here. In 5 years, I'll be here. In 10 years, I'll be here. You can't do that in production. Yeah. But the beauty of that is you also can't ever tell someone you can't do that. Right. You can't ever, you never have to live under that
in the box.
The box of like, oh, I have to do 3 years of this to get to this. Well, no, you don't. If you have a story to tell, tell it. If you want to write, write. If you want to act, act. If you want to be in production or be a director, it's all open to you. You just have to go for it. And there's no steps you have to take specifically to get there. Everyone's story is different. And that's the beauty of it. So, but I think you can apply that to other businesses as well, which is just be a little more open-minded and don't stop accumulating experiences and travel. Just God forbid, God willing, this thing ends.
We can start doing that again.
Go back to traveling, because if I was to tell a young person anything, if you could do one thing, travel. It'll broaden all your horizons.
Right. I was going to say, what's the best thing you learned from your travels?
Everything about problem solving.
Getting lost.
Getting found. Fending for yourself, figuring it out, making friends, learning about art and history and architecture and foods and music, and there's just an incredible world out there. And that it helps to, a lot of people are like, oh, I want to become a director, I want to become this or that. Like, how do you get to those steps? Forget about the steps. What's going to happen once you get there? Why is someone going to hire you
over somebody else?
You know, and the reason is because of your taste, right? And how do you develop taste? Travel. Like, eventually you're going to get paid to make a choice and to make decisions based on your taste. And it's really like, it's such a nebulous thing, but that's I think that's a great stepping stone to developing yourself as a person and to developing your taste and like what, you know, the aesthetics of what's beautiful to you, what sounds great, what looks great, and understand, you know, those kinds of things in life, politics and literature. Just
get as much knowledge as you can, because they're all pieces of your story. And if you've got a story, then you understand, you know, more about life, right?
That's right.
The more detailed your story is, well, the more interesting human being you are, that's for sure.
And also the people you surround yourself with are very important. I was really very lucky in high school. I went to an unusual high school where I still have 10 really close friends who are all brilliant and wonderful. And then same thing in college. I really had an amazing, strong group of friends that I talk to every day to this day. And I think that was a big part of my development.
Having people who were so supportive and all that.
Yeah, just smart and people who shared that same sense of adventure and like learning and, you know, sort of challenged each other to, you know.
I also think, like you said, the open mind, because if you're not open-minded, you can't learn anything.
Right.
You know, and like you said, you have friends who are as smart as you, smarter than you, some that you're smarter than, whatever. It doesn't matter as long as you come together and share ideas and feed each other knowledge. Right. It's all beautiful, right?
Right.
And I think you being open-minded works really well for your job, so you can let people do what they do in your reality TV stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, geez.
Yeah.
Did you ever, in the beginning of all of this reality stuff, yell cut too early and just miss something great? Because, you know what I mean? Like it's getting heated. Anything you can think of or any of that stuff?
Well, it's a very close call, right? Because it's like not so much on Shark Tank or Feud, but with Bachelor reality shows, you're kind of capturing this thing and it sort of goes off the rails a little. And that's when it gets really interesting. But, you know, you also have to weigh when safety comes in, then it's just, you know, like, if we're shooting in a thunderstorm and the lightning is gorgeous and dramatic, but my
Right.
crew's at
Oh,
risk, then we'll shut down
okay.
and we'll always err on the side of safety. But
What if somebody's losing their mind, just having an emotional breakdown, but in a funny way? And of course, you can't make people out to be crazy. I mean, you
Yeah.
can,
Well,
but you can't, you can't throw them under the bus completely.
it's not really my job. That's not really under my job description as much, because what happens is they'll take all the footage and they'll go into post,
And
and
edit
then
it
they'll
out.
decide in editing whether something's inappropriate or
Okay.
appropriate or funny or not when it crosses that line.
Yeah.
And I think some reality shows don't do a great job at that and try to sort of generate that and look for that. And on Bachelor, I
You
think
guys don't do that.
we really don't. And the stuff that happens is completely natural. But we actually, I think the post-production and the producers do a good job of telling stories without delving into there's more craziness than you see on TV, probably.
Sure.
It's not, but it doesn't always, it's not always suitable for television. So
For public's knowledge. Yeah.
yeah,
I
there's
get it.
actually there's still some filters,
And
But I try not to yell cut ever.
I was just going to say, do you leave the cameras rolling all the
just
time?
kind of leave them rolling, and then something will happen, or a producer will step in and take someone away, or if there's a physical confrontation that starts to feel unsafe, that's
So that's still on film. Just edit it out, but you can stay. You can do what you're doing while somebody else babysits a little bit if they have to.
Yeah, I don't get too involved with the cast.
That's good.
So, but like I said, we'll just if it's steering towards something that's
Dangerous.
or not appropriate or unsafe or something, we'll stand down for sure.
But it's nice to know that you keep the cameras rolling, because honestly, in real life, if there was a camera rolling, it wouldn't turn off.
Right.
Right.
And definitely sometimes there's weird, odd little moments of real human, sometimes there are some really, really sweet and amazing moments when you're supposedly not shooting or done shooting or something, where someone will really let their guard down a little more.
Do you have one beautiful story, a moment that you'll never forget or something like that?
Well, I love, some of the weddings we've done on Bachelor have been so stupendous and beautiful. And we did a live one, which was amazing.
Because that was all you.
Yeah, well, it's not all me, but it's a lot of me.
Did you high five yourself after?
That Tristan and Ryan wedding was really a highlight for me.
Was that the first season? Yeah.
First season of Bachelorette, third season
Okay.
overall. And now we're going into our 41st season. Wow. But that was extraordinary. And the fact that it worked, and that's, because people, it would only been 3 seasons, but people would say, oh, that show never works. They're never going to, find love and get married. And it only had to happen once. Mm-hmm. And then you could never say that anymore. And so when Tristan and Ryan got married, to this day, when I see them, I just bow down like gold standard.
Do you get to see them often? Or you mean
not often, but I still see them.
Okay, nice.
Because Tristan will come back and do bits with us. And we had all the Bachelorettes back on, was it 2 years ago? And we had a big Bachelorette reunion and stuff. So, but that was really a cool moment. And then it was a great, great moment on Shark Tank that you might remember, which was this son and 2 daughters of a couple that had a product that, while they were developing the product, the father was developing the product, and the mother passed away, sadly, I think from cancer. And then the father did a video submission for Shark Tank for his product, and he was a firefighter in New York City. Jeez. And he developed complications from 9/11.
Inhaling all that stuff.
And in between the time he developed this product, submitted the video for Shark Tank, and the time that they were on the show, just before that, he passed away as well. And so these brave, brave, brave kids came on the show, and one of the girls was, I think, in high school, and the boy and the other girl were a little older. college age, and they presented their product, and it was a cutting board, Cupboard Pro. It had a little cup on the end so you could chop and push stuff in. And
yeah, I do remember that.
Into a little thing. And
yeah.
Anyway, very successful, very cool product on its own. And then they showed the father submission video, and like all the sharks were bawling. Even Mr. Wonderful had a tear in his eye.
Aww.
And they just did a great job of representing themselves and their parents. And then the sharks all went in, all 5 of them went in, which is rare, and decided to donate all their proceeds to the firefighters fund.
From 9/11.
You know, whatever that 9/11 program was.
Yeah.
And each board has like a little insignia on it with the, like a little brand, I think, of their father's firehouse number and stuff. So it's just an amazingly touching and dramatic and sweet and tender story that made everyone feel, you know, pretty great.
Yeah, like a great Disney movie.
Yeah, in this super tragic, yes, right, in the super tragic setting, yeah.
I mean, that's Disney. It starts tragically usually and ends beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're creating fairy tales. I think it's beautiful.
That was a very memorable pitch.
And another part of your story that's just amazing. Oh, you're so lucky, and I am so lucky that you spent this hour with me, my friend, and your support.
Wonderful.
Your support means everything to me, and I can't thank you enough.
Of course.
Oh, Ken. Okay, so guys, watch Bachelor. It's premiering October 13th.
I think that's right.
And Shark Tank is October 16th. And then look for the new show with the Impractical Jokers. And if you don't know who they are, look it up because it's hilarious.
Yeah,
they're hilarious.
Misery Index.
And those guys are funny, so the show has got to be wonderful, including the fact that my friend Ken is their director. So,
and Family Feud and Celebrity
Family Feud and all those. All of those. Feud. Is there something you want to say about dates and stuff? Because I don't know all of them.
Well, there's syndicated Family Feud, which is on check your local listings in LA. It's on Channel 9 at I think 6 and 6:30, and then Celebrity Feud is on. I think there's still a few more episodes to air from this season, and that is hilarious, really fun, primetime ABC, and to tell the truth, ABC. All my shows are ABC.
Beautiful.
A lot of them.
Oh, my lucky friend.
Keep watching.
We're going to keep watching, and kids keep dreaming. Be like Ken. Be like Ken Fuchs.
Thanks, Nikki. You're awesome. Great show.
I love you. You're
Good
awesome.
Luck with everything.
Oh, Ken. Thank you, my friend.